It is the Nutty Knife Guy. And today I am bringing you the Cold Steel Bushcraft 2-pack. 22 bucks at Walmart. I got a set of these for Christmas, and I'm not going to take them to the war post because I don't want to break them. They're a gift. But I was really curious. Myself, I haven't seen cold steel stuff at Walmart before in little blister packs, let alone these kind of holiday impulse present buy packs. And I was intrigued because I've been waiting since Lynn Thomas sold cold steel to some big outdoor corporation, waiting to see if quality would suffer. And that remains to be seen. But I did notice that this is not made in South Africa. These are not made in Taiwan. These are made in China. Well, I'm not a snob about that. There's some good blades that come out of China. But they call this the bushcraft 2-pack. And I don't have the sheath from arm for each, by the way, and I'll talk about them in a minute. Not much to say about them. They say this is a bushcraft knife, or the bushcraft knives. This is a matched set, which was another selling point for me because they'll make good training blades, practice blades. The steel is 3CR13 steel, and they're not all that thick, and they're calling it a bushcraft knife. I'm already skeptical, but they do have pretty nice balance. They're awfully light. They're big enough for chopping, and the grips are actually really good. I like the grips. They're that slightly tacky, slightly spongy rubber. I'm really fond of those kind of grips. I know a lot of people don't like them, but I do. And if you really want to get some chopping power, I have found, just kind of messing around with them, that you can kind of get 3 fingers here and then get that bird's beak at the bottom in between here, and you can actually have good control and do some decent chopping with them. Trail knife, camp knife, yeah, but I mean a real actual, Jeremiah Johnson build a log cabin with him knife, extremely skeptical. Mainly because of the steel. Now you guys know I'm not a steel snob, but usually I draw the line at about 8 CR steel. That family of steels, the 3 steels, but I figured there are already a couple of reviews out on these things, but I figured my viewers might be curious, and I know I was. And also, as I said, these things might just be kind of useful. The balance is pretty decent. Even for a big knife, you can kind of manipulate them pretty well. They're almost a machete. They do have a bevel, and it's kind of a shallow, hollow grind. But the thickness of the blade makes me think machete. Now, if you take this with you camping, down around Tuscarawas River where I live, if you want to carve yourself out a new place along the bank to go fishing and you just need to go through some light brush, this will probably be good. I would have no problem with that. Or if you're just going to do some camping and you want to clear out the campsite, light brush clearing, in-camp activities, this would probably be good for food prep. But real, honest-to-goodness bushcraft, going through saplings, batoning, I don't baton on the channel, largely because I really don't have anything to baton where I live. You know, as I said, I live in a small town, but I do live in a town, and there's not a whole lot of loose lumber lying around. We don't have a fireplace. But this standing up to batoning, I am very, very dubious of. I am very dubious of the 3 CR13 steel holding up to the war post. It might, but I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't. Now, as I said, it is nice that they are matched and everything like that. But they're not really matched. They're matched. I mean, they're the same profile, they're the same weight, they're the same balance. But if you're going to have a matched pair, have a matched pair. Don't have them two different colors. Now I've got my other set, so I'm going to make two truly matched pairs. You know, the set that was purchased for me, if these survive the war post. But we shall see. I have to say though, as I said, they are very light and balanced. So, yeah. Live YouTube, guys. Well, not live YouTube, but unscripted. You get to see my hat fall in front of my face while I'm holding two sharp knives. But yeah, I mean, they do fit nicely in the hand. I have to give them that. Waving knives at you. And they're hefty enough that they could probably deliver a really good chop. But, I mean, as dual fighting knives, okay, I don't want to use the term, I'm getting away from using the term bushcraft knife, fighting knife, combat knife. The more I think about that, this could be a whole other video, I'll have another 45-minute rant like I did this weekend. I think that that putting those kind of names on fighting knife, bushcraft knife, I don't think there is. I think there's so much blurring to how knives are used and what they're for that those terms don't make any sense. They're calling these bushcraft, but I think they would be most useful in a zombie apocalypse scenario. I mean, they are actually quite nice for that. So, I mean, there's not a whole lot to say about them. The sheaths are your standard everyday, get them with super budget knives, nylon sheaths that might last a season. They're over here. I'm not going to show them to you. They're pretty basic. But I gotta say, I'm impressed with how they feel on the handle. The ergos on these are great, but you know, if you take the traditional idea of bushcraft, I don't know. They've got a nice large oval lanyard hole, but honestly, they're light enough, and they are well balanced enough that I don't know why you would need a lanyard. But then again, I don't like lanyards all that much. So we'll go out and I'll chop a bottle and we'll chop the war post and we'll see how they hold up. I'll get ready to go out there now. Okay, let's see how these things perform. That's hard to beat. take a look at this here. Okay, even that cut I did with the left hand got it good, and I damaged the lid on that other one, but the other cuts, even without the water in it, didn't do too badly at all. So we'll try the post. Okay. Not too shabby so far. I am being a little careful with these because of the steel. And also, I did do the drop test because they're big enough, and I think they're going to be a little bit lopsided, but we will test the point here in a minute. But the CR3 steel is actually doing pretty well. I'm surprised. I'm also having a little fun with these. No shock. Took a chunk out of that. We will put these in the chair when we get back down. We'll do the drop test just because I'm curious. I wasn't gonna, but I'm gonna. But yeah, left hand's not the greatest in the world. Okay, just because I'm having a little bit more fun. Oh, well. CR steel, folks. I can probably bend that back into position, but I think that's enough testing. Unfair test? Maybe if they didn't call this a bushcraft. You might be doing prying and drilling and God knows what you're going to do with the bushcraft. And I'm not going to try to put this one back in the sheath because it would probably rip the sheath up. So we'll go downstairs and wrap things up. I hate to say it, but I was right to be concerned about the steel. Hey folks, well, you can see like a 90-degree bend in this tip, which, as I had said before, is not a great surprise, given that it's the 3CR13 steel. And some would argue that it's an unfair test because I was banging it into a fence post. And I would agree with them if they didn't say this was a bushcraft knife. Trail knife, camp knife, mini machete. Really, aside from the grind, to me, this is a small machete. And that's the way I will use it. Like I said, I've got the ones that were bought for me for Christmas. I'm really glad I bought my own before I tested them because I didn't want to screw up a Christmas present. But the thing of it is this, to me, and people could disagree, this is an opinion, a bushcraft knife is something that you're out in the wilderness of your choice, Arctic, jungle, whatever. This would probably be better for jungle. This is the only tool you have and you can make it. It's like a bushcraft knife and survival knife are really gray areas when it comes to overlap on purpose. But you might need to pierce something. You might need to use that knife in the situation of a survival knife or a bushcraft knife where you're prying a nail out of something, or you have to make a hole for a bow drill, and it could be going into hardwood. And this thrust was in my left hand, and of course I need more. You can tell by the way I was flailing out there with dual weapons. I need more practice. I know I could tell I needed more practice. But I might have got the edge alignment off. I mean the tip alignment off on the thrust. But then again, it was my weaker hand too. So I just don't see how they can justify this happening, calling it a bushcraft knife. I mean, just looking at the design, really, it's not a bushcraft knife. What do I have over here that's handy? I want to get something here. That one's over there. Okay, I guess we'll do this one. This is a Schrade old timer, and I've reviewed this. Thick steel. I believe this is 440. I can't remember, to tell you the truth. Good grip on it and everything like this. But this tip would hold up to any kind of, we have like music like an awl or something like that. And the steel is fairly thick. It's heavy, but it's still light. You could use this for light brush clearing, but you could also baton with this, chop with it, and thrust with it. This has been to the warp post, I believe. Yeah, I did the warp post with this. At least I'm like 90% sure I did the warp post with this one. I'm sure. Similar size. This one is a little heftier, and it's just overall more robust. But I just dropped my remote. But using 3 CR13 steel on anything than calling it a bushcraft knife, I don't think what happened before old Lynn sold his company. But I went and found a pair of needle nose. We're going to see if we can straighten this without breaking it. Okay. This is actually bending quite easily, which tells me that the heat treat was probably really screwed up. I mean, this is like almost like it wasn't heat treated at all. And so you can see, I got it almost straight now. And I mean, it'll take a little work to get it back to approaching what it was, but it was that easy, which means that steel was soft. Which it's a bad heat treat, and that's backed up by the fact that the other one of the pair did just fine. So I'm going to keep both sets of these, the one that I got for Christmas and the one that I bought. Boy, I am dropping everything today. But if you're going to have a bushcraft knife, there are so many other options out there. I'm trying to see if yeah, I should have gotten this one first. This is my Ontario. This is the Survival, Spec Plus Survival SP 5-95. Tried and true. You can see this has some wear on it. It's been used. Right. Now granted, you got two knives for $22. And I think these go for about $60. I've had this was actually a gift from a friend. So I'm not sure how much it cost. But I've had this for like 15 years. I think they run between like 50 and 60. But this would not fail you in 1095 steel, Ontario. But even in a value pack like this, I expected better from Cold Steel. Well, I didn't really. I would have expected better from Cold Steel before the company was sold. Now, I am going to straighten this again, and I am going to mark it so I can tell the difference from the one that I haven't, isn't bent. But honestly, these are going to be practice knives. Because like I said, you can tell out there I need the practice. And maybe the ones that I haven't tried are going to go in like a car trunk for if I'm, just something you never know if you're going to need it or for what, but it's nice to have. Or they just might stay as part of the collection. Not surprised, disappointed, but not surprised. Now, the edges did quite well. I believe that these two cuts were my first two, and then my last two they clipped the lid, did a considerable amount. It cleaved all the way through the lid, almost. And those last two cuts were where the water had already drained out. So the edges didn't roll, and everything wants to fall on the floor today. The edges didn't roll, and the recurves made these cutting beasts. They were really tearing up that war post. But what we had here is just on this particular one, this bad heat treat. Now, the problem is they're all coming from the same factory, using the same process. So you have to figure that you're going to get more than one questionable heat treat. And it looks like on the one, even on the one that didn't roll, and I can't say for sure that it wasn't like this out of the box, and I don't even know if you're going to be able to tell, but there's a slight bend in this one. But it did not roll over 90 degrees like this. There it is. There are so many better choices. The Schrade, I think, was like 30 bucks. Yeah, it's one knife, not two, but this is one knife that's likely not to fail you. It's probably going to hold up to whatever you do it. I bought my brother one just like this to take with him when he goes boar hunting. And of course the Ontario. There are a lot of better choices. But if you just erase the idea that they were called bushcraft knives out of your mind and use them within their limitations. Light bushcraft. They're small machetes. Think of them that way. And that's fine. Now, a little bit more work, and I'm going to get this thing more or less back to the way it was. And I will, as I said, I will find use for them in ways that I'm not going to put too much stress on them. But honestly, I mean, for any real heavy use or medium use or even light to medium use, these are light use knives. These are small machetes made of questionable steel. And with that, I bid you my usual admonishment to draw your knives only in just purpose, sheathe them only with honor, and to remember that without knives, life would be dull and pointless. And if you have that one, it might be pointless even if you have a knife. Please like, share, and subscribe. That really makes me happy. Feed the almighty YouTube algorithm. Oh, hell, the algorithm. And I bid you goodbye.